Hi, I'm Roger,
I'm Bart.
and welcome to Game Strategy and Reviews,
Today we're going to be reviewing.
block by block.
This is a clever little game, and it's the insurrection game. For all you closet anarchists, communists, and just Molotov throwing crowd,
Yeah,
this is your grail game. uh, who's it designed by?
it was designed by Tim Simons and Rocket Lee by Out of Order Games. It's going to be released this fall in 2016.
Well, we want to kind of show you not the rules, but how the game kind of flows or plays.
Exactly, so you'll be able to see the whole to-do about it. It's set up pretty nicely, I think.
Well, we'll give our opinion too after. So, what's the most basic thing you think of when you're in, these protesting? It's occupations. So they have these really cool occupations. If you have, you roll a 4, use these dice for actions. Then you can build a people's kitchen, for example. And there's a bunch more. Over here we have the neighbors coming in with the Comrade Cafe. We have, what's this group called? Workers have the People's
Kitchen,
People's Kitchen, okay.
which has been barricaded.
No, this one was not supposed to be People's Kitchen. It's supposed to be Hackerspace.
Oh, yeah.
Then we have the prisoners with the Molotov Factory.
Yeah, which help you to defeat some stuff.
Yeah.
Really do get some guys with those guys.
So
Does that make sense? Get some guys with those guys?
No, that makes no sense.
All right, but it does help you to do that.
Okay. Now, the next thing is, looting. You can loot
yes!
in this game.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's free resources by pounding on the neighborhood and ripping open the shops and liberating all those things that you need.
You have to make your die roll, again, 4 for the area. And you can loot the shopping center.
Exactly, and once you loot the shopping center, you mark the area to show that it's been looted.
And you get a loot card.
Exactly.
So here we have the +1 Molotov cocktail. That adds to your dice, so they're always useful.
Exactly.
Um,
And if you were to hit the same area again, you would eventually set the place on fire.
Yep.
In which case you can no longer loot it again.
But you do get another loot card.
Exactly.
And this time, even better,
There's a +2.
the Molotov +2.
So that would turn a 4 into a 6 when you're trying to destroy a police van.
It gives you a lot of latitude.
Yes, it does.
Then, what do? The mobs move on. Let's say they move on to the shopping center. Okay?
Yeah.
And we loot one of these shopping centers. Can you...
Oh.
By the way, there's 4 shopping centers on that pile. Okay, let's take another loot card. And what do we find?
+3 Molotovs.
That's the daddy.
Between those 3 Molotov cards that we just took out can really affect the game when you're trying to overthrow the man.
But they have a lot of other loot cards. And wait, can you loot it one more time?
Sure. Let's get
Loot
that
that one.
Walmart.
Okay, here's another example. We have paint,
Oh, that's
which
a good one.
allows you to loot all the shopping centers at the same time
Which,
with one die.
yeah, so you want to use that paint right now?
And
We'll set some things on fire.
they have groceries, which
Will help you to occupy areas.
it's only helped me in one game,
But-
so it's a minor aid.
I think it does help a little bit.
Okay, now let's do how the police move. You got cops here.
You also have cops up here.
There's an AI. Yeah, well, let's talk about the board for a second. We got our students have moved into here, and they're ready to loot like mad. They've built a hacker occupation. They've looted this area. It's exhausted. We've got a barricade. Okay, over here the cops are strong, and they have a police van. There's 2 barricades and a people's kitchen occupation by the workers. Over here, the neighbors
have 4 units in their own neighborhood.
This is a
looted slum.
and they have a Comrade Cafe, which helps them somehow, does it?
Oh, sure it does. It's you loot actions become normal actions.
Yeah.
So I should go and loot right now, right?
Why not?
I would go and loot. Let's take a loot card and see what we get. We get some more groceries, which will help us occupy things.
Well,
later on in the future.
They never help me.
Since that's a basic action, I can take another basic action, which would be to move. So I could move all of my guys, if I wanted to, into the plaza.
Wow, it's just like the Arab Spring. Okay, so then we have the prisoners have liberated the Immigration Detention Center. They built a Molotov factory, and they have 3 barricades here.
Which would stop any cops going through there, at least for that turn.
Yeah. And over here we have this, you'll notice that the areas are different colors. This color revolution seems to be the new term. And this one is white for government, a state building, which we have to capture in order to win.
Exactly. There'll usually be as many buildings as you need to capture as players.
Yeah.
And it can be a little difficult to capture buildings.
Well, it's difficult, and it's very satisfying to win. So
yes, it is. I agree with you on that 100%. When you knock down that police van, you feel all types of good.
Yeah.
And the neighborhood goes up in flames, and you've liberated it.
The when you knock out the police van, you really feel like you're in one of those YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I just
you feel like you're in that
very
YouTube video that went viral. Okay, that's how you
exactly. Now, okay. So this is the situation in our sample. We're going to start doing police movement to show you. For that, they have this nice AI. It's this deck of cards here, and it moves the police. It does different things. Let's see what happens. First, we get
heavy reinforcements.
Are we getting this? Yeah.
So everywhere where there is a police van, they receive 2 extra units of cops.
Yeah.
Which brings also another 2 over here. Now you have some very large areas of police activity.
Yep. Also, at the end of the turn, these cops can dismantle these barricades and this People's Kitchen. Boom. It's gone. People's Kitchen goes back here on the player board. And that's how they take stuff apart. I'll give you another one. Next turn. Imagine everybody's moved. It says
into neighbors' districts.
Okay. So those are the green ones.
Yep. And they will move into neighbors.
They all move in. You have to follow the roads. There are dead ends and dark alleys in this game.
Which they have now entered this district, and at the end of the turn, they will remove my cafe.
Yeah, this thing will be destroyed.
Yep.
I thought you were going to stay there, but you
So
moved
did
out.
But I moved out. I guess I'll just have to build another one.
Okay. And you'll see we had to leave one there.
Oh,
now,
I had to leave one here, right?
Yeah. Okay, now on, let's say, this one, can you read that one?
And the next is the police then move to public squares.
Public squares.
And public squares are gray.
So
colors.
These cops would move in here. We leave one behind. And those guys move in. Yeah, they were supposed to be fighting, but you moved them out. Okay, these guys, all these cops have moved in here. There's 4 blocks, neighbors blocks, and these 4 police blocks will knock them out. And they've taken the plaza back over. Now it's our turn.
So orange
We're going to liberate this space.
Can move down through the subway, come up through.
There's a subway right here.
And move up on the subway right here and force out the one guy there.
They attack the cops and they can push them out either way.
Yeah, push them that way.
And then
from there,
continue moving in.
And move into the neighborhood that we're going to now liberate.
Okay. These guys, keep one guy to keep on looting, move in here.
So we now have 7 guys. We need 8, so
will double this number.
So we will play 1 groceries card, which pushes us over to 8 and will enable us to now liberate.
And we pick this up, and you see
and you claim your bonus card, which you get every time you liberate.
Also, the tile gets flipped over to its
liberated side.
There's a little flag there.
And the difficulty in the neighborhood drops by 1. So anything that you're building or doing in there afterwards becomes that much easier. But we get the Mega March, and each liberating faction may form the following number of blocks in this district. Because it was 4, we each get to form 2.
Okay. Wait a second. Liberated district difficulty, I think.
Yeah.
So it's 2.
Yeah.
So everybody gets to throw who was there, gets to throw in 2.
Exactly, and we get to throw in another 2. This is how you build up a nice size group and go about liberating different areas.
Yeah, you get these special cards too, of course, every time you liberate an area, so it's a big pump in the arm. They have different ones too, because we're going to move our crowd.
And force
out
enormous another police officer
and liberate here,
which we can.
We can pick it up and flip it, and we get another card. And it's like a Easter egg.
Oh boy. And on this one we've got Citywide Rebellion.
The whole place goes bonkers.
And what was our difficulty? It was 4 when we went there.
No, it's at the time. It says liberated. Because look, there's no such thing as an unliberated 2.
Okay, so each liberating faction may defeat the following number of riot cops in any district. So
2.
We each get 2 riot cops.
So we get to take. Let's take these 2 off because we have to capture this in order to win.
Oh, okay. So you've taken those.
Yeah.
And I can take. Where should I take? Perhaps from the largest group then.
Okay.
I will take off.
They go here. 2. Staging area.
Now, from where we are, we can make one more attempt at liberating.
Oh, we're here.
We'll move into the state district, which is the object of the encounter or the game, is to take over as many state districts as possible, where we fight the police van. Now we would normally make our action rolls and roll the appropriate amount of action dice, looking for 6s, as those we need 3 6s in order to destroy the police van.
Yeah.
However, modified by whatever we would
3
roll,
6s.
We would have a +3, +2, and +1 Molotov card.
Yeah. So, in other words, you don't need 3 6s. You need, like, good rolls. But you're going to have to do a lot of looting. You're going to have those Molotovs. You're going to have your other goodies, paint, groceries. They have furniture.
Exactly.
All kinds of little details. It's just kind of funny. It's a game. It's a funny game. Okay, so that's basically how it works, right?
Exactly, in a nutshell. And I would like to call your attention to the fact that this is the printed and play,
Oh, yeah.
print and play version.
Yeah.
It's not the official version.
Yeah, this is not the artwork. This.
It is great artwork.
It
Don't
works.
get me wrong. And
By the way, those are I put them on regular cards I bought at the 99-cent store.
Yep.
So
they came out pretty darn good for a
You
print
know,
and play version.
it works. It's the gorilla version.
But this was the only way in which we could actually, pre-release review this. And we were really enthusiastic of hearing about a game that would allow us to play out looting a city. It's been kind of a dream of mine.
Yeah. So let's get to the review. Okay, now I can see. Okay, hi. We start the
review of Block by Block.
Yep.
I've ended up really liking the way the game was set up. All the pieces worked right.
The map looks good. It looks like a city.
You have a challenge in following the map around because you have to move certain ways.
Yeah.
You could get there, but sometimes there are areas that are sort of cut off, and when you have to get at those areas, that's what gives you a bit of a challenge.
Well, I like the way when the police are moving, they leave one block at a time,
Keeping a secure
they
line
basically
behind them.
lock down a section of the city, and it comes off like with a very authentic feel.
Yes, at times it feels like they're coming for you and are specifically moving against you.
Well, I feel like they're behaving like riot officers trying to restore order.
Exactly, and that's why it feels so good when, you knock them down, force them out of the neighborhood, and destroy their police vans. It's a great feeling, and I really feel that this game works right. It appeals to me.
I like it when they lock down the neighborhood, too, and make it safe. It feels real. It feels like you're really doing something.
Like you're being occupied by them.
And doing a game that has the police behaving in a plausible way.
Yes.
And the mechanics work that way, very simply. I mean, you leave one guy there, and you get the certain part of the city being locked down, and then it becomes very difficult to find streets to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Or take the
subway.
Yeah.
The subway is a saving grace in this game.
It's a funny thing in the game, the subway.
Sometimes when you think there's no way to get there, you might find a subway route, as long as the police aren't locking it down.
Yeah, I mean...
That stinks.
Well, I like it. I like the way the game feels.
Yeah, it does.
When I lost, I had a good time.
Exactly. You don't feel bad when you lose because you look at how much you got done, especially maybe like your first game. By the time the second game comes around, and there will be a second game, you feel that much more confident. You've got that much more taken over. When we did win, we felt great because it was this great communal effort in order to take advantage of those two last turns.
Of our game, our third game, we played 3 games.
Each time was with at least 3 players. Last time was with 4, which was the best.
Yeah, so...
which we won because we had 4 players and could generate that many blocks at any given time to counter the huge number of police blocks. And there were times when the game got up to the brutal level of police coming after us.
Well, I played some 2-player games, and I thought they were just as fun. Personally, I think it scales well. One thing we didn't use in our sample showing was these faction agendas. And they add more goals, individual goals for every player, including a traitor element. And honestly, we're having a lot of fun with it just as a cooperative game.
Exactly. We don't want to
We
go
haven't
into
really, I'd love to go into it, but I haven't
No.
really mastered this part yet.
that. Exactly. I'd rather wait a few more games and then maybe try to bring it in.
I may never get to those cards.
But bringing in any of them just adds more depth to the game, and
I haven't played them,
pretty
so
good.
I
I
can't comment on those.
on an overall, with the way that the map works, with it's very simplistically laid out, but still has enough depth as a game. All the pieces are intuitive. It becomes very easy to put up a strategy to block the police and to cooperate with your neighbors to actually get some stuff done.
Yeah, I mean, that's all important to do. And for me, the most important thing about a game is, do I have a suspension, the suspension
Of
of,
disbelief.
yeah, and I have that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing a little rebellion. It's sort of Ukrainian-ish, but it does overlap with a lot of different the contemporary rebellions.
And revolutions across the globe recently.
And so it does do that. And but one thing I feel is, while it's a fun game in itself, really the anarchist, the armchair communist, radical, this is their game. This is their, it should be there along with the anarchist cookbook.
Yeah, an exploited album.
And Linton Kwesi Johnson.
A couple of Molotov cocktails.
The Communist Manifesto. It belongs right there. It should be in your collection.
Yeah.
If you're, into that. And for other people, I think
they would still be able to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
It's maybe not geared directly towards them. When we were playing it, it's like, oh, they're preaching to the choir here, and that's why we had enjoyed it so much. However, not all of our friends are like that, so, but they would still like it.
Yeah, I think anyone would like it. If I was with a whole bunch of non-radical friends, I mean, just normal friends of mine, I wouldn't pull this out first.
Exactly.
I mean, I've got my other games, but if I have a couple of these guys hanging out, yeah. Definitely a Riot Girl. Yeah, this is the game. And so I think it's on that category a must buy.
Yes, we did go and print and play this. This is a game that we would buy. This is a really well thought out game. We've recreated every single bit of it, and it functions really well. There weren't any problems that we encountered with it at all during gameplay, and the rules are very intuitive, great learning curve. You're getting a great value for what they're asking, and
what are they asking? They haven't asked for anything yet.
I think it was $45 or so. Yeah. Around. Don't quote me on that. But I could see them getting that, and it would be worth it because there's quite a lot that goes into.
I've definitely got to get.
The components work perfectly and seamlessly together, and it some really good brain work went into this, and it can be different and enjoyable each time with this variable game board or map of the city.
The map is always variable. You lay it out in a different way every time, so that gives it definitely a different challenge every time. Especially, it's funny, there is this puzzle aspect where you're going through the city trying to figure out how you can get from A to B.
Yes, sometimes it could be very easy to get from one side of the town to the other. Other times, simply because one subway station might be controlled, it blocks off a whole section of the city because of the curved pieces that they put in there.
Highways.
Yes, the simple one, square will be just nothing more than highway, and depending on which way it sends you is the way you have to go. Sometimes they go to nothing, and they can alter the game significantly.
This is my favorite place to occupy.
Yeah, if we could occupy it.
They should. I mean, what's going on?
The big meridian in the road. I always wanted to go there.
No, but in Oaxaca, right now, they're occupying the highways.
Oh, that's good.
And in this game, it doesn't mean anything. It's like...
Shouldn't you have control of supplies then?
Well,
they come into the city and you can like tax them and like extort money.
I don't think anybody in Oaxaca is doing that. So it
no, I don't think that they're doing anything.
That would be after the liberation or something. I mean,
well, they would.
It's not really in the scope of this game.
Ended up really enjoying this game.
Yeah.
We put a lot of not only the time that went into actually making the game, but a lot of time just recently getting a lot of games in, and we found it to be a hell of a lot of fun. And like I said, if anarchy and rebellion and tearing down the government is your thing, you will really, really like this game. Get it.
Okay.
Well, we'd like to thank you for joining us here at Game Strategy and Review. Good night from New Jersey.
Good night from New Jersey.